Hello, good morning. Welcome to the news at 10 on NTA News 24. I am Ogochkuka Ona. 352 intending pilgrims depart Abuja for Jerusalem.
And they must abide by the rules set up by Israeli government and also the government of Nigeria.
Borno State Police Command averts explosion, recovers 3 projectiles in Dala, Maiduguri Metropolis. Correspondent tells us more about techno-feudalism, a digital feudal system. We'll also bring you a review on Nigeria's efforts to combat human trafficking and gender-based violence. $352 intending pilgrims to Jerusalem have been airlifted at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Francis Udojo reports that this is the first batch from Abuja this year, with the Executive Secretary of the Commission calling on them to pray for Nigeria and renew their faith in Jesus Christ.
These intending pilgrims at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, are the first batch for this year, after the batch in Lagos participated in the religious exercise December last year. The mood here speaks of people yearning to experience a deeper and new chapter of Christian faith as they hope to pray and see Nigeria's astronomical growth in the nearest days.
Like most people, they're just doubting some things. But when they go and they really see those sites that they've been reading about, they get more spiritual and they get more involved in their Christian activities.
I know that a lot of things are happening in Israel, the land of God's people. So I'm going there to have an encounter with God. My life will never remain the same after this visit.
The need to pray for and be good ambassadors of Nigeria were words from the Executive Secretary, Nigeria Christian Pilgrim Commission, and the representative of the Minister of FCT.
This journey is a spiritual journey. It's not a jamboree. It's not for window shopping. It's not for shopping. It's for spiritual reawakening of their soul. And they must abide by the rules set up by Israeli government and also the government of Nigeria.
While in the Holy Lands, you have the responsibilities of praying for our dear nation, Nigeria, and its leadership at all levels for peace, progress, growth, and development.
The 352 pilgrims are expected to return to the country in a week's time. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the first batch of Lagos State Christian pilgrims have returned safely to Lagos after a successful pilgrimage exercise to Israel and Jordan. At the welcome ceremony, the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission expressed joy, noting that the journey began and ended successfully. He hopes other states would follow suit. Special Advisor on Christian Religious Matters, Very Reverend Adebukola Adeleke, and Bishop Akinpelu Johnson, Chairman of the Lagos State Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board, also expressed gratitude for Johnny Mercies. The board secretary, Yetunde Bafe, thanked God for the hitch-free exercise and acknowledged improvements at the Jordan-Israel border, appreciating the NCPC, ground handlers, and the Nigerian embassy's intervention. She announced that the second batch of Lagos pilgrims will depart soon. The newly inducted Jerusalem pilgrims, JPs, expressed satisfaction with the spiritually rejuvenating exercise and top-notch welfare provided by the Lagos State government. They encouraged intending pilgrims to visit the now peaceful Holy Lands. And now to other matters. Kaduna State is now witnessing better security situation with peace returning to many areas, particularly the once troubled Benin, Gwari and Giwa local government areas. Issues of banditry and kidnapping for ransom are gradually diminishing with isolated incidents occasionally. This was a review by the Minister of Defense, who recently visited the state.
The Northwest has been battling with security challenges, displacing people in their homes and villages, with the security agencies striving hard to find a lasting solution to this lingering problem. The Minister of Defense and his team, who have taken the front seat, providing the necessary support for the security agencies to succeed, are moving from one state to another to assess the situation on ground. Undeterred by the late hours, the team arrived at Government House Kaduna, all in a mission to strengthen collaboration with the state government to end security challenges in the region.
We have seen tremendous successes in the last few months, and we will continue to maintain the tempo with your support. We will continue to push, and our troops are ready and willing to fight this to an end. I must not end my remarks without expressing our profound appreciation to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for his uncommon and sustained support to the Northwest Zone.
While in Kaduna, the minister visited the Operation Fansanyama formation in Gwari. The state government has also been providing the necessary support to the security agencies. Last year, these vehicles and motorcycles were distributed to various security agencies in the state. This combined effort has led to the reopening of the once closed cattle market in Gwari and the surrender of over 200 bandit camps. In Kaduna, I'm Muhammad Umrajingi, NTA News.
The police command led by CP Yusufu Mohammed Lawal has demonstrated commitment to public safety with the successful recovery of 3 projectiles in the Dala Kafanti area of Maiduguri. The incident was reported by a resident who reported spotting a suspicious sack behind a house in Dala Kafanti. Acting swiftly, the command's EOD CBRN unit secured the area and recovered 3 projectiles from the sack. Preliminary investigations suggest the items were abandoned by unknown individuals earlier that morning. To enhance public safety, the community was educated on explosive ordnance risk awareness and safety precautions. However, Borno State Commissioner of Police reassures residents of the command's dedication to public safety, just as citizens are urged to stay vigilant and report suspicious activities or objects through the emergency contacts. Media practitioners in the country have called for a shift in the tradition of problem reporting style to a more constructive solution-based reportage in setting agenda in various public spaces in 2025. They made the call while setting agenda for the new year. Lanre Beleye reports.
There is a reason why the news media and its practitioners are being called the fourth estate of the realm. This unofficial but widely accepted role connotes the importance of news media ability in guiding and nudging the government and the public towards a positive direction in their storytelling. They have over the years become a constant reminder for government to deliver on its promises made to the citizens.
Journalists can shape the public opinion by determining what issues are given most attention or priorities.
As journalists, we go out, we investigate and report on issues.
Fact checks must also be created, in all the media organizations to ensure that the information we are giving to the people are truly the facts and best to inform and then to educate and entertain the citizenry.
They say Nigerian media practitioners should do more of solution storytelling that enlightens and creates public awareness. In Lagos, Lanre Beleye, NTA News.
Benue State government is prioritizing making the state a hub of not just industrial and economic activities, but also realizing the dream of transforming the fortunes of the state. Governor Hyacinth Alia disclosed this in his New Year message to the people of the state. Elias Itiav reports.
Since assumption of office, The present administration has continued to prioritize the welfare of the generality of the populace through its people-centered policies and programs. Governor Hyacinth earlier in his New Year message, while highlighting some of the developmental strides in the areas of healthcare, agriculture, infrastructure, education, social welfare, ICT, youth and women empowerment, as well as security of lives and property, assured residents of the state that his administration will not relent until the desired result is achieved. Governor earlier maintained that he has a social contract with the people and will not renege on the terms as contained in the contract.
We are not only working towards making our state a hub of industrial and economic activities, we are also determined to realize a Benue that sustainably breathes the air of premium quality healthcare services in tune with global best practices.
He therefore called on everyone to join hands with his administration in building a new and better Benue anchored on mutual trust.
I dare to tell you that Benue is yet to see the best under our belt. Fellow citizens, I've only chosen to highlight a few out of so many that we did last year, which you have been seeing and feeling the impact already.
The governor therefore called on leaders across all tiers of government to continue to make concerted efforts to engender development and self-reliance that culminate in better standards of living. In Makudi, Elias, Etiaf, NTA News.
You're watching the news at 10 on NTA News 24. More reports after this break.
To all our viewers, we say thank you. A good TV station means different things to different people. What made NTA stand out for you in 2024?
Babu shakka, babu wani gidan talabijin a ƙasar nan da ke nuna al'adu kamar yadda gidan talabijin na ƙasa wato NTA ke nunawa.
Kò sí ibikíbi tí ẹ wà ní orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà bí ẹ ò ti lè wo ilé-iṣẹ́ tẹlifíṣàn ìjọba àpapọ̀ NTA kétékété kódà tó fi dé abúlé wa.
Standard NTA Bacharuru Okopa Okadigun Okoko now NTA Kalisiakale.
Trends, information, outstanding performance. NTA got the Steves.
For decades, we've towered high with sponsors as partners and viewers as pillars. And as we bid 2024 farewell, we welcome you to a superlative 2025. Because at NTA, you can't beat the reach.
Oh, NTA say thank you.
All right, thank you for staying tuned. Now, President Tinubu restates pledge to reduce inflation rate to 15% in 2025 as investors flock to government debts, crowding out firms. Vivian Ezadefe has more in the business package.
President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to reducing Nigeria's inflation rate from 34.6% to 15% by the end of 2025. In his New Year message, Tinubu highlighted the progress made in key economic areas in 2024, including a gradual decrease in fuel prices and foreign trade surpluses in 3 consecutive quarters. The president also noted that foreign reserves have risen and the naira has strengthened against the US dollar, bringing greater stability. Additionally, Tinubu lauded the record growth of stock markets, which generated trillions of naira in wealth, and a surge in foreign investments that signaled a renewed global confidence in Nigeria's economic policies. Despite these positive developments, Tinubu acknowledged that food and essential drug prices continue to strain many Nigerian households. His administration is determined to tackle this challenge in 2025. The proposed 2025 budget includes significant allocations to defense and security, infrastructure, health, and education. To achieve the targeted inflation rate, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) hiked benchmark interest rates 8 times in 2024, reaching 27.5% in November. This move led to increased yields on treasury bills, with the one-year treasury bill auction attracting 2.53 trillion naira in bids in December. The 2025 budget proposal is about 22 trillion naira higher than the 2024 budget, with allocations focused on restoring microeconomic stability, enhancing the business environment, and promoting inclusive growth. Tinubu emphasized the importance of collaboration among leaders, institutions, and citizens to overcome Nigeria's challenges. The president's commitment to reducing inflation and promoting economic growth is reflected in the 2025 budget strategic priorities, with a focus on infrastructure development, human capital development, and revitalizing agriculture. The administration aims to create a brighter economic future for Nigeria. With business, Vivian Izadifi.
And as you can see, work has resumed across the country after the public holidays to celebrate Christmas and usher in the new year. Joy Kena Bakboya, who monitored activities in Lagos, reports that civil servants began their workday with prayers. It is the first working day of year 2025, and workers across the country are back to their duty posts. At the Lagos State Government Secretariat, Lausa, civil servants filed in one after the other, exchanging pleasantries.
Happy New Year! From the president's speech, it portends a good year for us, and we are hoping that all the indices of economy will be better for us and the nation will be better off.
All the glory to God for the concluded year and to give us the strength and to help us in the new year we have started already.
By the grace of God, helping our government, we have good things coming for us this year.
But before the real work begins, an interreligious prayer for public servants, leaders, and the state at large was held.
You must ask yourself, another year had just rolled by. As a civil servant, have you been civil?
The faithfulness and the mercy of God that is new every morning, according to Lamentation 3:22 and 23, has brought us this far.
Lagos State Head of Service Bode Aguru, while welcoming the workers, urged them to embrace and maintain the virtues of diligence and dedication and shun unprofessional conduct in the discharge of their duties.
Inasmuch as we have all started this new year with new resolutions, renewed hope, and great expectations, I would like to urge us all to recommit ourselves to be doubling our efforts in the discharge of our duties in our respective years.
It is good to always start with God because He has been the source of all that we are and all that we are.
The workers are optimistic that government policies will begin to yield positive results in the new year to ease the sufferings of Nigerians. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboya, NTA News. And from Lagos, we move to Bauchi, where the state government says it is ready to fully implement the Supreme Court judgment that granted autonomy to the local government as third tier of government. This was the resolution of our consultative meeting led by Governor Bala Mohammed at the Government House, Bauchi. Awal Abdullahi has details.
This engagement between the three tiers of government
is aimed to review policies and programs of the local government administration with a view to ensure effective implementation of the local government financial autonomy in line with the Supreme Court judgment. Governor Bala Mohammed says his administration will not relent in supporting any policy aimed at improving the well-being of citizens.
We will look at all those things that we have been leveraging on our common resources to see whether we can come up with a law and then how the resources will be managed independent of the state, maybe to create a local government accountant general, and then of course an all-purpose finance committee that would be something akin to federation account at the local government level, so that we'll be able to deploy more resources to the local governments, and then to make sure that the local government develop the capacity, the human capital, to be able to run all this if they can. That is the issue of the primary responsibility of both the federal and the state governments. That is the issue of primary education and primary health care.
During the meeting, stakeholders discussed and scrutinized the draft executive bills, which includes the Local Government Administration Bill 2025 and a law for states to implement local government autonomy before their presentation to the State House of Assembly. In Bauchi, Awwal Abdullahi, NTA News.
The New Year 2025 celebration has provided a positive thinking atmosphere for hundreds of inmates under the Bauchi Medium Custodial Center during a moment of special nutrient-packed lunch by Governor Bala Mohammed. The gathering has provided a platform to share love and encouragement for the inmates, as we now hear from Zainab Agbola.
This is a maiden welfare promotion initiative under the Bauchi State Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, specifically meant to keep the minds of inmates productive.
It will be impacted on their lives because the way they express their happiness, to think that government is thinking about you, have promised them that will take their cases, those that maybe have waiting trials, and those that they told us all their problems. So we're hoping the government will help assist.
Part of the state's activities celebrating the New Year 2025, the humanitarian aid was led by the Secretary to the Bauchi State Government on behalf of Governor Bala Muhammad.
The governor, he identifies with every citizen of the state, whether in challenge or out of any challenge. And that is why he has made it a point of duty that every year an occasion like this is organized to come and felicitate with our citizens that are by the circumstances of life here at this point in time.
We are very grateful to what he has been doing for us. It's not the first time that he has been doing, and he has been continuing to do. We have a lot of requests which has been approving to us. In order to see that we have given the inmates the right what is expected of them to be, so that they can be responsible people and go back to the society.
The inmates have also received a donation of items including mats and blankets in Bauchi. Zainab Agbola, NTA News.
Now, imagine if a tech giant like Amazon were a castle and Jeff Bezos is a king. He controls who enters the castle, what they see, and how much sellers have to pay to remain there. The shoppers live in reviews. They are like peasants working for free, while smaller businesses are servants paying rent to stay inside. This analogy perfectly describes techno-feudalism, a digital feudal system. Toibat Aniwofoshe has more.
Techno-feudalism arises from critics of capitalism's transformation due to digital platforms like Amazon, Google, and Meta. And the term was popularized by a Greek economist and politician, Yanis Varoufakis. He argues that the social order is changing as tech giants now wield enormous power and influence, extracting value from their users without fair compensation.
Right from the onset, the system is not built to be fair. Although now there comes the saying that if life is unfair to everyone, does that not mean that life is fair? So if the system is unfair to all the tenants, does that mean the system is still fair? Regardless of that, the rewards that the creators are getting for all the work they put in, and all that work is still subject to manipulation from the owners of these digital platforms, right? The digital landlords per se. So you just have to ask yourself, in a system that is not built to be fair, can you really expect fairness?
Some industry players believe that there is need for a collective pushback by users of these platforms.
The challenge is that we wish we could have ours in Nigeria, our own platform, so we don't have to rely on global platforms, but we can't because of the amount of money it takes to set up data centers that can attend to millions of requests simultaneously. It also is going to be expensive to have server centers, and this is exactly where we need to get it right. What we need is to make sure that while we are still reliant on global giants for hosting our platforms, we must have proxy servers locally hosted so that even for any reason we lose any of these global platforms, we can still have our data intact and we can have our followers' data intact as well. Countries, or at least businesses in countries, should try to own the platform that they run their businesses so that they don't become victims of techno-feudalism.
Industry analysts argue for a fairer system, one that benefits everyone, not just a few billionaires. In Abuja, Toyiba Anifoshi, NTA News.
Thank you, Toyibat. And now we take another break. The news continues shortly. And we begin this segment from the political front in 2024, where Nigeria experienced lots of intrigues, suspense and controversies from the off-cycle elections to some policies of the present administration believed to be tough but necessary by government. Timothy Yusuf reports that the internal rifts within the major opposition political parties also shaped the year.
For the great philosopher Aristotle, every mortal is a political animal. The involvement of all, directly or indirectly, in political happenings. Several political events took place in Nigeria in 2024, particularly at the subnational levels. The political crisis in Rivers State cannot be glossed over.
My friend, what are you doing?
We have to go in and talk.
But nobody can take away our political structure. No one. You cannot walk and people will begin to bring enemies. Those who fought you. When you are struggling for the person to be in office. Nobody does that.
And we just came out of a little crisis from his state. It's because of his maturity and leadership. And indeed the intervention of Mr. President, this towering crisis appeared to be nipped in the bud.
The cabinet shake-up in Federal Executive Council, autonomy granted to the third tier of government, off-cycle governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states, with the governing APC winning all, to the controversy generated by the president's tax reform bills are some of the major events that shaped the year.
Following 2023 elections, we were able to have a new government that is aiming at changing the landscape, not only political landscape, but also the economic landscape, and if you like, the social landscape of Nigeria.
One of the notable achievements of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has been the reactivation of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Company Limited refineries in Port Harcourt and Warri.
The country marked 25 years of uninterrupted civil rule on the 29th of May 2024. Many believe that it symbolizes a vital chapter in the country's democratic evolution.
Political parties, they have their own Bible, they have their Quran, which is the Constitution, which is the manifesto,
we have been talking to ourselves, and for the first time, the IPAC have established a directorate for women and that of the youth.
Democratically, we can say we are doing very well. We have done very well, and it's been a very good, smooth ride.
The year 2024 also witnessed the major opposition political parties emerged in internal crisis. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, Labour Party, LP, and the New Nigeria People's Party, NMPP, witnessing crises that linger.
Immediate resignation of Umar Iliyu Damago as acting national chairman of PDP for anti-party activities and allow North Central produce the acting chairman as clearly stated in the PDP constitution.
We urge the NWC to rise to the occasion, demonstrating leadership and responsibility.
One solid year of disagreement, one solid year of turbulence. The diminishing presence of opposition voices could lead to complacency.
The year also witnessed the passing away of some prominent politicians. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
In a sustained campaign and assistance towards meeting the health needs of the aging population with disabilities, the National Senior Citizens Center donated assistive devices to 2 communities in Okuzu and Oyi in Amobia, Oka South local government areas of Anambra State. The center donated wheelchairs, guide canes for the blind, hearing aids, crutches, diabetic test kits, among other devices. The DGNSCC, represented by the head Corporate Affairs, Media and Communications, Omini Oden, presented the devices to beneficiaries in Akuzu to support a medical outreach. In Amobia, the assistive devices were handed over to the Ignatius Akubude Center for its work and advocacy on dementia and alleviating the impact of Alzheimer's in communities. A physiotherapy clinic equipped by the Traditional Council of Akuzu was also commissioned. In the year 2024, the world celebrated major wins in the fight against diseases like malaria and mpox. Here in Nigeria, we had our own breakthrough with the arrival of the first ever malaria vaccines for children, signaling a big leap forward in women and children's health. Let's see how we fared in strengthening our health systems in this report by correspondent Oluseye Adeagbo.
In healthcare, prevention measures such as vaccines and surveillance have always been game changers, rewriting the story of diseases that ravaged humanity and stole the lives of millions. Decades ago, diseases like measles, whooping cough, and polio were relentless predictors, claiming the lives of countless children in Nigeria. But science fought back with the discovery of vaccines, which turned these deadly diseases into preventable conditions, giving hope to parents and saving entire generations from untimely deaths.
For the benefit of all mankind.
And here in Nigeria, we are making history. The latest is the malaria vaccine officially rolled out for children in October 2024, marking a major breakthrough in the fight against a disease that has plagued our nation for generations. True to its word, Gavi, the international partner, prioritized Nigeria in its rollout plans through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, selecting Bahesa and Kebbi states as pilot locations.
I'm very happy for seeing this because I know how many times we come to hospital to take malaria drugs for our children.
The launch of this vaccine intervention, are optimistic that we can create a healthier, more prosperous future for our people.
Parent has an opportunity to immunize their child against malaria, they'll take advantage of that. State government will also step up and find ways within the increasing revenues that they have, how they can complement federal government in terms of co-financing.
These are mothers inside Eko Abasi PHC Center, Calabar, Ward 2 in Cross River, one of the states with higher number of zero-dose children, and drivers of immunization program have been speaking on limitations.
Recently we had stock out of antigen and we missed
so we had missed opportunity, which during this recent measles campaign, during the measles campaign, if you notice, in Cross River State, we went out with our ROIs. All the antigens, we went out because we wanted to catch up with all those that we had missed opportunity during the stockout. Then that of from the aspect of the client, it has to do with poor knowledge. So we do a lot of advocacy, sensitization.
Also, in the year under review, Nigeria had its share of health crises, from the spike of cholera cases to outbreaks of Lassa fever, diphtheria, and even the return of mpox, declared a public health emergency. Governance at all levels with international support and other partners strengthened coordination in response to all public health threats.
We'll be recording cases throughout the year. But we develop awareness programs, pamphlets, leaflets, even jingles. But bear in mind that all these cases come from different states and local governments. So in each state, because of their popularities, they carry out all these activities. After COVID, they will build a laboratory network. All states have laboratories with different scopes of activities. Most of these laboratories, they build capacities again for them to be able to test different diseases.
The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, BHCPF, a federal government's project established to provide funding to improve access to primary health care, has been building capacity of health workers and availing vulnerable population insurance to access needed care.
We have visibility to how those 4,600 facilities would be upgraded. Now, more than 8,000 facilities have been receiving direct facility financing through the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund in all the 36 states. And on the Vulnerable Groups Fund, the resources have also been channeled to provide enrollment and overall health insurance, according to NHIE, more than 2 million Nigerians have been added in the last 1 year.
Though it is a unanimous opinion that Nigeria is not where she should be in the health sector, but there are improvements, especially in immunization, which has been shading the nation's children, and other crucial interventions already yielding a healthier and brighter nation. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
And now our next report says it's a global menace and Nigeria has been up and running in playing its parts in fighting it. Cases of trafficking in persons, gender violence and child abuse were nosedived in 2024. Apparently, this has a lot to do with the fighting spirit of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, which says it rescued more than 20,000 victims of human trafficking in 2024. Let's now join Amina Baba Suleiman for more details.
Nigeria is rated as a source, transit and destination country for human trafficking, with women and children being the major victims. This led to the establishment of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, in year 2003. Statistics indicates that since the establishment of the agency 21 years ago, cases of human trafficking have dropped drastically in the country. Records indicate that the agency has convicted over 700 traffickers and rescued over 28,000 victims of human trafficking in cases of sexual and gender-based violence in the country. For instance, in year 2022, the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, recorded the highest number of rape cases, out of which NAPTIP convicted 4 individuals, with 2 receiving life imprisonments. In year 2023, NAPTIP received 1,278 sexual and gender-based violence complaints from the FCT, with the top issues being spousal battery, abandonment, inflictions of physical injury on children and rape.
They killed fowl, they use it to rub my body. I don't have an option. I take an oath that if I should try going back, I will die.
Do you know who we are? We are Romagas, and we'll hold you. This one will hold you here, this one will hold you here, and there will 5 guys here will sleep with you.
My hand is paralyzed, and I can't be able to do anything with it now. That was the pathetic story of this 11-year-old boy, a victim of child trafficking He is among the victims rescued by the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP.
The husband pour me fuel. He want to light me fire. It's one old woman that come outside. The way I'm screaming, the woman now here, she now come outside and save me.
In year 2015, the National Assembly enacted the Violence Against Person Prohibition Act, mandating NAPTIP to appoint protection officers in the 6th Area Council in the FCT to assist the courts, police, and service providers in the fight against gender-based violence. Consequently, in year 2024, NAPTIP increased advocacy through enlightenment and sensitization, targeting the unreached villages and communities across the country. The agency also set up state task forces in human trafficking with members drawn from the state across Nigeria. A new Director General of NAPTIP was appointed in the year under review.
Our strategies in the implementation of the National Action Plan on Human Trafficking in Nigeria 2022 to 2026. Through this platform, we seek to ensure that our work remains targeted, effective, and in line with the global best practices.
NAPTIP, in collaboration with partners, commemorated the 2024 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence and Human Trafficking. Similarly, founding fathers of Women Trafficking and Child Labor Eradication Foundation, Wordclef, celebrated 25 years of establishment of the organization. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, joined by dignitaries, advocates, and supporters, commemorated the foundation's ongoing legacy in Nigeria.
Her unwavering dedication to combating human trafficking and child labor has changed countless lives. She did not merely witness the suffering of women and children, she took decisive action to lead the charge for change.
With the present activities of the agency, human traffickers in Nigeria will definitely have a hot and unpleasant 2025. Amina Baba Sleman, NTA News.
And similarly, the year 2024 saw significant advancements in diplomatic partnerships and global cooperation under President Bola Tinubu, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs implementing the President's foreign policy as part of Nigeria's renewed hope agenda. Garba Natala highlights these engagements in this report.
Analyzing progress made so far, the Minister of Foreign Affairs gave insights into his ministry's performance and impact on Nigeria's foreign policy goals under President Tinubu's administration. The ministry conducted a series of high-level diplomatic engagements, bilateral meetings, and participated in multilateral summits to strengthen cooperation and advance mutual interests with foreign allies.
With all the activities going on, we've had about 300 engagements in and out of the country. There's an MOU with India, agreement with the US, with EU. We established the Nigeria-Qatar Joint Business Council between the two chambers of commerce of Nigeria and Qatar. Hosting of African Humanitarian Agency. The team came in April to assess. It's very competitive. We believe we've done enough.
Aside this, however, funding being a major obstacle, the ministry continued to safeguard Nigeria's interest on the global stage.
We are pushing very hard for Nigeria to become a member of the G20. We've campaigned, we've engaged with so many G20 members. We're also campaigning assiduously for membership, permanent membership of the UN Security Council. There's the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme, where so far, based on the sensitization programs that the ministry has been handling, workshops, we have enrolled 933 Nigerian companies, 10,850 products have been registered. This is something that is very important because that way you can avoid tax when Nigerian companies are moving goods and services within ECOWAS. Otherwise, they get taxed.
Trade and economic diplomacy is another aspect pursued by the ministry to promote exports, attract foreign investments, scholarships to Nigerian youths, job opportunities, exchange programs, providing consular and visa services for Nigerians facing legal challenges in foreign countries, and many more. In 2024, The 4D Foreign Policy Initiative of President Bola Tinubu's administration has secured investments amounting to $5 billion thanks to numerous high-level diplomatic engagements led by the Nigerian leader, resulting in various bilateral and multilateral partnerships.
The job of our senior officials will only achieve the desired goal if we did very well in implementation.
The partnership between China and Nigeria that focuses on agriculture, infrastructure, and economic development is crucial. Following the initial intergovernmental committee session, both countries have pledged to strengthen cooperation across various sectors. On multilateral discussions, global issues are addressed. In forums like the United Nations General Assembly, Vice President Kashim Shettima conveyed Nigeria's stance on global concerns, particularly regarding the Israeli-Palestine conflict and challenges faced by Africa. Nigeria's participation in G20 summit hosted by Brazil in November 2024 under the leadership of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlights the country's stance on key global issues and the agreements made. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tuga conducted shuttle diplomacy to 4 ECOWAS member states, aiming to foster support in addressing both global and regional issues. He provided a briefing to journalists in Abuja regarding the outcomes of his diplomacy initiative.
The nature of the world today, we're living in a multipolar world. It is becoming increasingly complex, but at the same time, the political structure of the world is designed in such a way that regional cohesion is all important. It's important for regions to be together.
Despite facing challenges, Nigeria's foreign engagements led to strong investments in the year under review, with countries like United Kingdom contributing, Netherlands, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, UAE, India, Germany, Ethiopia, Benin Republic, Guinea-Bissau, Ghana, Senegal, and Qatar, all supporting Nigeria's economic growth and development. More successes are expected in the year 2025 with the appointment of Minister of State for Foreign Affairs Bianca Ojukwu as the year projects a positive outlook. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Natala, NT News.
Yes, indeed, Garba, the year 2025 has brought with it a significant array of political, economic and social activities. In this report, Musa Baba Aliyu examines some of these events scheduled for 2025.
Thank you very much.
The inauguration of Donald Trump for his second term as President of the United States is said to be a significant political event with anticipated social and economic ramifications worldwide in 2025. Trump's inauguration as the 47th president is scheduled for Monday, January 20, 2025. Analysts believe that his presidency could foster a potential resolution in the Middle East and help bring an end to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
We'll be talking to President Putin, and we'll be talking to the representatives, Zelensky and representatives from Ukraine. We got to stop it.
Additionally, the escalating tensions between Taiwan and China, as well as the future of Syria following the Bashar al-Assad regime, will be closely monitored in 2025. In Africa, John Mahama is set to be inaugurated as the president of Ghana on January 7, 2025, also making his second term in office similar to Trump's situation in the United States.
Yes, they said he can't come, and he has come. The nation builder is back to build our Ghana for us, because we are in need of schools, we are in need of hospitals, and we are in need of work.
The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, will be making decisions regarding Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, as these three nations have largely rejected ECOWAS efforts to reverse their plans to exit the regional bloc.
The authority acknowledges that in accordance with the provisions of Article 91 of the revised ECOWAS Treaty, the three countries will officially cease to be members of ECOWAS from 29 January 2025. The authority decides to set the period from 29 January 2025 to 29 July 2025
Furthermore, between January 12 and November 2025, presidential elections will be held in several African countries, including Malawi, Cameroon, the Central African Republic, Gabon, Cote d'Ivoire, and Togo, where indirect presidential election is expected to take place. On the global economic front, the World Bank forecasts that global growth will rise to 2.7% in 2025 to 2026. However, this growth is anticipated to be slower in advanced economies and emerging markets. The United States, China, Japan, and India are projected to lead the way in economic growth, with sub-Saharan Africa's GDP expected to grow by 4% in 2025 to 2026. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
You're still watching the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Let's take another look at our top stories. 352 intending pilgrims depart Abuja for Jerusalem.
And they must abide by the rules set up by Israeli government and also the government of Nigeria.
Borno State Police Commander VAT's explosion recovers 3 projectiles in Ghana, Maiduguri metropolis. And correspondents reported more about techno-feudalism, a digital feudal system. We equally brought you a review on Nigeria's efforts to combat human trafficking and gender-based violence.
This is NTA News 24.
And straight up to sports, Nigeria's junior female Yellow Greens set for Women's Under-19 Cricket World Cup debut in Malaysia. And Super Eagles forward Moses Simon bags Nantes December Player of the Month. Let's join our sports desk for details of these and more.
Nigeria hosts Malaysia, Nepal and Samoa are the 4 debutants that will feature at the second edition of the International Cricket Council Women's Under-19 Cricket World Cup, which will be played from January 19 to February 2nd. The junior female Yellow Greens picked Africa's sole ticket from the qualifying series in September 2024, while their group opponent Samoa sealed their spot courtesy of their first international exposure in the East Asia Pacific qualifiers. Like the first edition, which was held in South Africa in 2023, 16 teams will battle it out to be crowned the champions and follow India in writing their names on the trophy. Meanwhile, Nigeria international Moses Simon has been voted Nantes Player of the Month for December. The Super Eagles forward won 44% of the votes to win the award. The talented winger scored once and provided 1 assist in 2 appearances for the Canaries in the month. Simon scored the winning goal in Nantes' 1-0 victory over Rennes. It will be recalled that the Nigerian won the award in September. The 28-year-old has registered 4 goals and 5 assists in 14 appearances this season. Also, Bundesliga side Hoffenheim has signed Nigerian forward Gift Orban for a fee of 9 million euros from Lyon, the French club confirmed on Tuesday. The 22-year-old had fallen out of favor at Lyon after joining them a year ago from Belgian club Gent. Orban scored 5 times in 21 appearances for Lyon, but had not featured in the league since September.
Le hors-jeu pour Mama Baldé, la surface, le centre, Gift Orban qui contrôle et qui termine. Comme à la parade. Pas de hors-jeu sur cette passe de Mama.
And in tennis, Novak Djokovic kept his hopes of winning a 100th career ATP title alive with a straightforward 6-3, 6-3 win against Gil Monfils in the Brisbane International last 16. Djokovic took his only breakpoint opportunity in the first set, helping him to raise into a 4-1 lead and take the set within 36 minutes.
2 match points. It's long.
Satovac Djokovic. 2 sets to love. 6-3, 6-3.
Novak Djokovic, for the 217th time in his career, has reached a two-level event quarterfinal.
The 37-year-old will face Rally Opeka in the last 8.
And that concludes the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Ogochukwuka Ona.